Global trade did not become fast because ships got bigger. It became fast because everything was forced into the same box, and that decision changed how the world makes things. A product can leave a factory in Vietnam, cross an ocean, transfer to a train, move on to a truck, and arrive at a store in Germany without ever being unpacked. That is not just efficiency. That is the reason global trade scales at all. Before shipping containers, cargo was moved piece by piece. Boxes, barrels, sacks, crates, machinery. Loaded by hand, counted by hand, damaged by hand, stolen by hand, delayed by hand. Ships often spent more time sitting in port than sailing because moving the cargo was the slow part. The myth is that global trade runs on giant ships. It really runs on standardization. In 1956, a trucking entrepreneur named Malcolm McLean loaded 58 metal boxes onto a converted tanker ship in New Jersey. He was not an engineer. He was not a shipping executive. He was a truck driver who had spent years watching cargo get handled too many times and decided there had to be a better way. His idea was simple: put freight inside one standard steel box, then build ships, cranes, trucks, trains, and ports around that box. Think of it like moving a house. Before containers, you had to carry every chair, plate, book, and lamp separately. After containers, you move the whole room at once. Cargo gets packed once, sealed once, moved as one unit, and opened at the destination. Every part of the system handles the box, not the individual products inside it. That changes everything. But here is the trade-off. The box only works because the world agreed to adapt to it. Ports needed giant cranes. Ships had to be redesigned for stacked containers. Rail cars and trucks had to match standard sizes. Warehouses and terminals had to follow the same logic. So the obvious question is, if containers were so efficient, why did adoption take time? Because standardization is expensive upfront. A better box does nothing if the rest of the system cannot lift it, stack it, store it, or receive it. That is what made this bigger than a clever invention. Shipping containers were not just new packaging. They were a new operating system for freight. Once standard sizes spread, everyone could design around the same assumptions. Ports, shipping lines, truck fleets, factories, and retailers all became easier to coordinate. The container did not optimize one step. It synchronized all the steps, and that changed how the world makes things. Once transport became predictable, companies no longer had to build everything close to where it would be sold. They could split production across countries, chase lower costs, use specialized suppliers, and still keep the whole chain moving. That is how one product can be designed in California, assembled in China, built with parts from a dozen countries, and sold almost everywhere. Not because oceans got smaller, because the friction of moving goods dropped hard enough to make that system practical. And once that happened, the box became invisible. Consumers see the brand, the store, the website, and the delivery van. They do not see the container system underneath it. But modern retail depends on it. And when that system jams, port congestion, route blockages, equipment shortages, the effects spread everywhere. Because the modern world runs on one logistics language. The modern world was not connected by the ocean alone. It was connected by making almost everything fit inside the same steel box. And by one truck driver in 1956 who looked at cargo being touched too many times and changed the system underneath global trade. If you want more small things with big reasons, subscribe.